Hi everyone, my name is Maria Dukova, and today we're going to talk about the religion, ethnicity, and democracy in the case of Israel. So, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and consequence and should act towards one another in spirit of brotherhood. It's from the first article of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Let's talk about the problem that we have between Israel and Palestine. There are no angles in the Israel-Palestinian conflict. It is a story of two people who have legitimated claims over a small piece of land. Each side believes that its claims are more compelling than the others. Both sides made many mistakes along the way. Those mistakes compounded an already difficult and complex reality. Thus, the history of the conflict is bloody and sad. The more blood is shed, the longer the conflict lingers. The more difficult it has become to bring the conflict to conclusion. Unlike the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, Israeli Palestinians are entitled by law to enjoy the same citizenship rights as the Jewish citizens in Israel. The Israeli Palestinians contribute a significant minority in Israel. It's 21% of the population. So we will differentiate between full citizenship and formal citizenship, arguing that Israeli Palestinians enjoy formal but not full citizenship. In detail, the areas in which Israel needs to invest to make the Palestinians full citizens. It is argued that while Israeli Palestinians are discriminated against, there is no apartheid in Israel. Apartheid exists in the occupied territories. So, while there is a need for a home for Jewish people where Jews can decide their destiny and independently defend and promote their traditional culture, Israel should retain its democracy character. Democracy is not merely a majority rule. Democracy is about majority rule while respecting the rights of minorities. Both parts of this definition are necessary, and any part in itself is not sufficient. The second part of the definition is no less important than the first. Democracy should fight against the formation of any form of tyranny, majority and minority alike. The right of the majority should not be considered at the reignness of the minority, as quantity alone does not make things right. Any form of unjust discrimination should be opposed, whether the discrimination is based on sheer members or on certain beliefs, custom, of religion. Individuals should be able to fulfill their capacities and to establish their autonomy. Israel should provide open forums for debate and for practicing alternative conceptions of the good. This can be done by adhering to the basic liberal principles of respect for others and not harming others. Government should respect the civil, religious, and political rights of all citizens. A note on terminology is appropriate because some citizens of Israel identify themselves as Palestinians or as Arabs or as Israeli Arabs or as Palestinian Arabs or as Palestinian Arabs in Israel. So we're using the terms Israeli Arabs and Israeli Palestinians interchangeable. Israel is a Jewish democracy. The framework of governance is democratic, but its underpinning concept give precedence to Judaism over fundamental democratic rights. Consequently, Israel adopts illiberal policies and practices that are discriminatory in nature, preferring Jews over others. After the Holocaust, the goal was to found a safe haven for Jews all over the world so as to avoid the possibility of another horrific experience of the nature. Indeed, the United Nations acknowledges the need of establish a Jewish state. This creation, however, based on a specific conception of the good, Judaism discriminates against the Israeli Palestinians. Israel has been accused of resembling the notorious South African apartheid regime. Apartheid is defined as a system of discrimination and segregation based on race. The resettlement of some Arab citizens from Jerusalem to the West Bank is deemed reminiscent of the Group Arrest Act of the apartheid regime. The separate roads in the West Bank for Jewish and others for Palestinians, as well as the arbitrary checkpoints that organize Palestinian life, resemble aspects of the apartheid transport arrangements. Critics of Israel should clearly distinguish between the Israeli occupation of the West Bank, where Palestinians are separated from Israelis who reside there, and where Palestinians are wrongly subjected to a possessive regulations of the occupation, and the continuation of Israeli-Palestinian society, the Green Line. As far as Israelis Palestinian citizens are concerned, the apartheid argument does not stand. While Israeli Palestinians do not always receive equal treatment and de facto at times are discriminated against, Israeli Palestinians do not live under anything that resembles South African apartheid. The Arab minority in Israel enjoys all the democratic rights, including the right to vote, the right to establish political parties, freedom of expression, freedom of association, free press, religious autonomy, separate educational system, legal rights, and basic human rights. Discrimination is one thing, and apartheid is another. The situation is problematic as is, and there is no need to exaggerate its severity. Those who claim that Israel is an apartheid state know very little about Israel and South Africa. Israel is a multicultural democracy. Israeli democracy is a majoritarian and procedural. It is an ethnic rather than a liberal democracy. The situation of its Palestinian minority is tricky and sensitive. Palestinians do not have national rights. These rights are reserved only to Jews. Israel needs to strive for equality in allocation of resources, fight against racism, bigotry, and discrimination, and introduce important changes to accommodate the interests of Israel, Arabs, Palestinians, so that people would feel at home in their own country. So, that's all for today. Have a good day and bye.